Did you know that 1 in 2 sexually active young adults will contract an STD or an STI before they turn 25 years old? I'm doing this speech to tell you all while high schools must mandate sexual education properly in its curriculums. I have heard many debates about this on TV, on newspapers, or through articles online as well. And it's very debated, it's very back and forth. So I've decided to choose my speech to do it on there. This kind of stuff, of course, is very important to the future of our children, the safety of our children, and the success overall of our children. Proper sexual education in high schools leads to less STDs and STI transmissions. It leads to less unwanted teen pregnancies, and it leads to happier students who can embrace the human nature. First of all, studies have shown a drastic difference in STD transmission in states where proper sexual education takes place and where birth control is offered versus those that aren't. Research has identified highly effective sex education and HIV protection programs that affect multiple behaviors and positive health effects. This takes place, of course, where places where proper sexual education is offered. We see in these places that this is not only reduces the frequency of sex, but believe it or not, the amount of partners the person has, the amount they have sex, and most importantly, whether or not birth control is used. And we see where states that teach proper sexual education, people who engage in sexual activity use protection more than those who do not. And of course, that is important in protection against STIs, for sure. And secondly, students are just not be giving a fair education. As you can see in this map, I know it's hard to see, but I'll explain it to you. The light tan sections of the map are states that do not require any sort of sexual education whatsoever. The lighter blue sections require sex ed to some degree. The darker blue sections require that both sexual education and some form of contraceptive instruction to be required. And the orangish sections that you can see on the map, these states require that sexual education and very clear instruction of contraception be taught in schools. So we can see that the more Republican, right-wing, conservative areas don't really care as much about teaching this than those who are liberal in the more progressive states. Secondly, sexual education promotes less unwanted teen pregnancies. And this is done by teaching them proper safety methods, etc. A study from the National Survey of Family Growth showed that students are half as likely to get pregnant between the ages of 15 and 19 after going through a quality sexual education program than those who don't. As you can see here, once again, the states in the South that have the highest teen pregnancy births per state, the deep red means that 35 to 50 per 1,000 girls in these states will get pregnant in their teens alone. So we can see that it's the deep red states, again, that have this problem. The more progressive left-wing states, if you will, seem to be less correlated with this issue, which is just screaming that we need to teach students proper sexual education and offer them easy access to contraception. Not only does it prevent teen pregnancies, but it also liberates students by teaching them about sexual assault. It teaches students what no means, especially women, of course, what no means, and how far you can go. Obviously, it teaches students to obviously they have to give permission, and the idea of consent also helps students who are informed about proper sexual education. It helps them report these sorts of issues after they learn about it. Lastly, it helps students embrace human nature. Ignoring everything will not make it go away. Not talking about sex will not make it go away. It's going to happen. It is a natural process. It is a part of the human condition. We need to embrace that. A study shows that embracing human functions and letting students do what they want to do not only leads them to be a happier, more informed people, but it also leads to more thriving relationships, more educated relationships, and happier relationships. Sex is part of the human condition. It is nature, and to just ignore it will do nothing. Saying we should not have sex is basically tantamount to saying we should not pee very much, we should not eat on certain days, etc., etc. There's nothing wrong with it. It is something that perpetuates our species, and we must teach it to everybody properly instead of just trying to pretend that it doesn't exist. The main reasons that people do not want to teach us are due to, of course, religious backgrounds. But, of course, the children are not subject to the parents' religious beliefs. So they are therefore owed proper sexual education and a proper education overall. And then when they're past high school, over 18, they can make their own decisions on the matter. But until then, we should continue to teach proper sexual education and offer birth control, and we need to continue to make sure that more states than just 24 mandate these types of practices. So overall, I have gone over why proper sexual education leads to a better quality of life. It leads to less STDs, it leads to less unwanted teen pregnancies, and it leads to happier, more educated students who can embrace human nature and not be ashamed of it. As a final impression, I would like to say the purpose of education is to overcome ignorance, not validate it. Thank you.